was really what's the name of the guy who was behind it?
I can't remember. Italian chap, and you've got a different pronunciation of it as well. So I'm going to bow
He's
to
really
your.
quite a person. I quite like the guy.
There's a story behind him as well, isn't there? It's,
he calls himself X
story.
and Y was his nickname. I'm not sure if it's like Lixony or I'm not sure how he pronounces that. But Fabio maybe his name is. Not exactly sure. Anyway, he basically was a very adventurous guy, and he was trying to give you the most and the best and the latest, but sometimes too much of the latest. So he kind of put things which are kind of experimental, and you probably wouldn't put in a production environment. I'm not sure if he's still doing that.
I'll tell you what I found best about it, because I make no secret I like my proprietary drivers and a few bits and pieces of proprietary software as well. And if it's installed as default when I first stick it on a new machine, all the better, because it makes my life a lot easier. But the thing I liked about this was that it presented all the license agreements that normally you have to traipse through to the end and press yes, you agree, and you could actually agree them in bulk, because we all know what they say, and we all know we click things that we should read first. So that was a nice little feature for somebody like myself who does rely on some of these things. But no, I've had a rock solid experience so far. It's frequently updated.
Have you had any experience recently where something on, at least on a desktop, wasn't working out of the box? You had to struggle with the setups of...
The only one distro that I completely gave up on was Mandriva, and that was quite a while ago. I think I'm going back about a year. I had a horrible experience with that, and in the end it was just not worth the hassle for me to continue on. I installed something else to look at. I did write a review at the time because I hadn't got to the stage where I could physically review anything. I remember one of the things with Mandriva was it was trying to update me to a previous version, and I had numerous...
Yeah, you weren't the only person to whom I saw it in Tux Machines actually in 2009. I think it was 2009.1 when it happened, and some people took screenshots of the proposal to go backwards in a release. But I was using Mandriva for quite a while. I was very happy with it. And today I came across, the project of former employees of Mandriva. They have just released a roadmap for... I'm not sure how the project is pronounced. It's like Mageia or... It's kind of a French spelling, or... Do you know how to spell that?
I wouldn't know how to say it. I mean, like I say, I'm doubting my own pronunciation of Sabion, so, because you seem to have it better, more right than me, so I wouldn't like to say.
I'll just give a summary, yeah. The short story is that they take the base of Mandriva, and these are people who have worked in Mandriva for a long time, and now they untie the distribution from the desire of Mandriva to upsell to the, Power Pack, or whatever they call that. Putting all the good things in Mandriva and trying to sell it the way they would have done if it weren't for the managers and bosses and people who are not technical in the company called Mandriva. And they expect the first alpha release in December, and the project is going to be put offline for the holidays. So I'm not sure it's a very promising thing. Just if you look at the website, it's very text-based, and I think it's mostly a wiki now. And I kind of look forward to seeing a release that I can test, or at least watch the screenshots of it. But that's going to happen in December, so about a month from now we'll see the kind of the Mandriva without the company. Although we have PC Linux OS, which is doing something quite similar. And I really like PC Linux OS, and I install it for people very happily. Today I wanted to try Fedora 14 because it has the latest of everything. And it was exceptionally a rewarding experience, and I had everything working out of the box as expected. It was very fast to install. And when I say fast to install, I mean even compared to previous things I've tried, where you have to fill out all kinds of boxes and try to view all kinds of pictures as you go along and click things through. I thought it was just as easy as any distribution I've ever installed. The only thing which wasn't working out, to just be frank here, is the trying to partition the drive. It gave me some errors basically, so I had to try and play a bit with the options, dance around it, and kind of ignore the error messages, which weren't exactly user-friendly. They were quite technical things. But to me, it wasn't an issue because eventually I got it installed. I think another person would have been a bit kind of intimidated by it and maybe would try something else. But once it's installed, it's really nice, and it's got a nice kind of introductory step-by-step input request from the user. Supply the time, the names, and so on. And I haven't had lots of time to play with that. I was playing more with trying to get the network to work, which was just really a vexing experience. But I should just say, any person who's been trying a very simple distribution or something that's characterized as very simple and thinks of Fedora as a very technical thing, a very difficult thing, should definitely try Fedora 14. And I was trying the KDE version, so I don't know about the default, the normal version. This was more of a spin of the original version. But the base underneath, it's the base components are pretty much the same. It doesn't have lots of software I would expect. Things like the GIMP wasn't there, even though it's a KDE distribution. It usually has the GIMP inside, but this one was lacking lots of software I was expecting. But it's just a few clicks away, so it's no big deal. I suppose not every person wants lots of bloat in terms of applications, but
yeah, you see, I prefer less is more with me, and certainly my choices. Just for example, like the Office suite, I'll go with AbiWord instead of the normal default OpenOffice. And a few bits, like I say, I prefer it to be as simplistic and basic as possible, so I can modify it myself. Because what happens is I just end up uninstalling and installing my own choices anyway. Fedora's one of those ones which I've never really given much time to, and the reason was because when I review the distributions on my site, I tend to go for the obscure ones and the ones that nobody's ever heard of, and try to pick as many as I can that aren't derived from Ubuntu as well. And Fedora was always up there in the top 5, and when the new releases came out, I thought, well, everybody's going to be trying this, everybody's writing about this, so I tended to stay away from it, just for that reason only. But I certainly think, from the people that have contacted me, I will be giving it a run.
Yeah. Did you see Distro Watch today, by any chance? They had a review of Fedora. Sorry, it was yesterday, because usually they release on a Monday, but I only got to see it on a Tuesday.
No,
they
I
have
haven't.
Jesse, what's his name? Jesse something. It's called Trying on a New Fedora, the title of the review.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I should just give the. Actually, it's a bit of an interview too. It's Jesse speaks to Jared from Fedora, and the summary is he actually did try the distro, and he says he still gets the impression that Fedora is more of a development and testing platform than is a desktop for your average home user. So I'm not sure I agree, at least based on what I've seen, but.
That's certainly not the feedback I've had either.
No, it's kind of weird. I have to tell you the truth, I skipped to the few last paragraphs, so I didn't see the specific, possibly had some issues or some pop-ups and things like that, which caused him to, and as I look through the review and the interview, I'm trying to see if he has any screenshots showing things not working, but, yeah, he's trying to show a few things which are a bit more complicated, like dialog boxes, which are kind of technical and might kind of scare a few people. But I think that's a very advanced feature. I don't think that's a much of an issue. And it's going to be very interesting next Ubuntu or the Ubuntu after the next one, because it's going to look extremely unique with the Unity interface. It's just going to introduce a whole new. You have to wonder how many distributions will use the same components.
And also the amount of distros that are derived from Ubuntu. What they're going to do as a result of decisions made by Canonical.
Fedora to Debian now. I can give you the example of Mint, which is a very large example. It is exploring Debian and the GNU Sense, which is the free version of Ubuntu. They moved back to, or they actually not back to, but they decided to go with a